2000 years for which we have detailed, we have sustainable practices, whether it is economic practices, business practices. Of course, we have got disturbances, difficulties, but sustainable systems were there. So what is the reason for this? This we have to study and understand. Fourth is, as far as the Indian society economy is concerned, it was always to study. Now all of us know, particularly economics, business, universal models now. For about 200 years we have believed that only two models that we have imported from the West would function. But in 2009, the Nobel laureate Paul Krugman has made a famous statement. Much of our economic theories are proved to be harmful to the society. He himself made this statement. So these Western models have failed. So we need our own Bharatiya models. If we see Bharat as an economy, even if you take last 78 years, we all know 1947, we were a poor underdeveloped nation. And today, we are the third largest economy in terms of PPP. We are the fastest growing economy. We are perhaps the largest number of entrepreneurs in the world. And all the international agencies unanimously say that India is going to be the major power. So in a period of 78 years, if you see the world economic history of the past maybe 2000 years for which details are available, no other country has made such a U-turn in a period of just 70 plus years. 78 years back we were a poor country, today we are the most potential nation. No other country in the world. What is the reason for this? This we have to analyze. I completely agree with my senior friend Professor Sridhar that is the reason why we have to concentrate on contemporary functioning systems. Of course, ancient systems are very important, we have to learn much a bit. But contemporary systems are very, very important, then only we can connect with the present and the future. Otherwise, there will be no use. So if you see the independent India alone, we can find out the superior performance of our economic, business, social systems. So we have to go and study. Once we study those things, then we can come to know what are the reasons. Bharat has very strong foundations. As an economy, as a society, if you take economy and business, we are one of the highest saving nations in the world. Even when our people live in West, where people spend money, our people save money and send it to their own country. If you see the World Investment Report of the last 15 years, you will come to know that our NRIs are the people who send the huge amount of money to their home countries. Last year it was $127 million. It is not the Chinese, it is not the Mexicans, it is the Bharatiyas. So, huge saving. Second, we have our own native entrepreneurial systems which we don't normally recognize and respect. If you see the Indian economy today, we have about 3,000 or more clusters. We don't have the exact numbers, it could be more. If you take the smaller business, industrial, agricultural centers, it is these clusters that are taking in the Indian economy, Indian businesses forward. Surat is only one city, 2 lakh crore turnover, two businesses. One is diamond business, second one wholesale saree business. Only two businesses, 2 lakh crore annual turnover. 50, 60 years back, nothing. So people from Saurashtra, very ordinary families, uneducated people, it is they who are dominating the Indian diamond today. Not Indian diamond. In Belgium, Antwerp city, global diamond capital. More than 70% of the Indian diamond trade takes place through us. Of course, there are days, but there are sizable, significant number of Patels who have come from the ordinary agricultural background. It is there throughout the country. I can go on and explain it. So these are our strengths, whether it is capital mobilization or whether it is entrepreneurship, and the role of our own families, particularly our women folk, mothers and sisters, they play. It's very, very important. We don't observe it because there is not even a single word about family or women in our textbooks. We study only the Western theories and think that, it's working here. Absolutely not. So I was so impressed with the contribution of our own mothers and sisters. A few years back, I began to offer a course, Women in Indian Economy and Society. We have so much material. Every family is a case study. Every neighborhood is a case study. We need not go and search everywhere. So this practice we have to begin. So from the contemporary period, we have to start observing facts and then document it. And the contemporary models are functioning models. It is not some sleeping, isolated models, functioning models. I would even go and say there are hundreds of performing models, superior performing models. In Tamil Nadu, for example, there was one community, Palmyra climbing community, agriculturists. They did not even have good water in their region, southern part of Tamil Nadu. They did not have money to start a business. So they developed their own mechanism, funding mechanism called Mahamai. So their main deity is Amman deity, Kali deity, we call Amman. So every village they go and take a vow before Amman that they would contribute in those days, 50s, 40s, 50s, that they would contribute 2 paise for every 1 rupee to the common pool of funds. So they developed the common pool of funds every village. They began dispersing to those who wanted funds to start entrepreneurship. Small businesses. Today, 70% of department stores, grocery stores are operated by that community. The largest profit-making company of India, sometime back Asia, Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank, was promoted by them. Not so professionals, very ordinary people. So we have the ability to develop our own native mechanisms. I have given only one example for want of time, but it is there throughout the country. Different places, different mechanisms. No uniformity, but there is cultural connection, based on relationship, based on divinity. So this is the point that we have to understand. Even when we import certain systems from foreign countries, from the West, we don't completely import assets. We Indianize it. Many of you may be knowing, I am a finance teacher, we have this capital reserve ratio. So we teach in classrooms, if you have 10 crore worth of capital, it is okay if you have 10 crore capital, 1:1. So this is how we teach. If you observe the balance sheets of Western companies, whether it is US or Europe, you will come to know generally they will have this. You take any Indian company, most of the Indian companies and see, always the reserve would be 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times more than the capital. Why? Our people by nature are cautious. They would like to have as much reserve as possible so that in future if any problem comes, they would be able to solve it. The company that I noted, Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank, till a few years back, its capital was just 28 lakhs. You know what was the reserve? 210 crores. So assuming that the company was going to incur losses, it can manage for another maybe 700 years. Can you believe it? So this is the kind of Indianization that is taking place in India. During our studies, I observed a company, in fact 2 companies, those companies give extra salary for those employees who live with their parents, monthly salary. If a lady employee is working and the lady employee is with her father-in-law or mother-in-law, twice the extra salary is given. Can you believe? These kind of companies exist today, that companies that promote Dharmic Indian family values. So in India, even today, we are functioning and performing, superior performing models. And that is the reason why in the last 70 plus years we have been growing as a powerful nation. But if you see the education system, there is a huge gap. Society is moving in its own way, based on our own culture and traditions, our own civilization and background. We are moving in the opposite direction. In sociology, if you see, the first subject is Max Weber's theory, which says this: India and China can never progress because they follow Hindu and Buddhist faiths that believe in karma and rebirth. only those that follow the Protestant faith would succeed in economics. You know, this first book was on Protestant ethics and capitalism. So that is the first subject that we teach even today. Complete disconnection, huge gap. As a finance teacher, even in ICFAI also we will be teaching, because we have to follow the university system. I always give this example. In 1997, two people got Nobel Prize for their Black Scholes model. Short names of the authors, Black and Scholes. You know, unlike their predecessors, they resigned their jobs and then joined a company which was promoted by economists and management professors. The company name was Long-Term Capital Management. So many people joined this company. Many people invested in this company. When the first year results came, Wall Street nosedived because the company lost not just the original investment, but 30-40 times of the original investment. People became paupers. These Nobel laureates lost all their money. What did they do? Again, they went up to teaching, and now they are very old. I think is no more. But even today, we are teaching that theory. Failed theories, which could not succeed even when it was followed by the original authors. So this is the disconnect that we have today. So it is time for us to bridge this gap. First of all, we have to study the local models. These are the Indian models. You know, you will not see same uniform system everywhere. India is a huge country. Only this cultural connect will be there. Otherwise, there will be some differences will be there. So we have to observe them, study them, recognize them, and then contribute for their improvisation. So already, as I have seen, you know, ordinary Indians have enormous economic wisdom, enormous business wisdom. We always have a feeling that the elderly people, particularly women, you know, they don't have the economic sense. But in my observations, we have found out the elderly people have more economic wisdom than the educated people like us. So I have written about it, talked about it. So it is time for us to learn from the contemporary practices and then contribute to the development of India and bridge the disconnect. NEP fortunately has given us the opportunity to do this. At present, in spite of our universities, in spite of our government, society is moving forward. So it is time for us to join with the society and make contributions to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening words. I would like to tell you that to moving forward the IK system, I remember the two decades before only, sir. Sir. 2 decades before only, I have chosen one PhD topic, and the topic is very correlated, which you exactly what mentioned to incorporate in our curriculum. And my topic was, as I have already mentioned with Siddharth earlier, the study of Vedic economics with special reference to archaeological evidence. You know that there is no evidence of in Vedic culture, so we took some evidence from the archaeological. So thank you so much, as you already suggested, to incorporate the entire IK system in our curriculum. It's mandatory required in the university, so we will take forward your suggestion as it is. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to invite our first panel speaker, Dr. Amandra Chandiwala, distinguished literary figure and Vedic literature specialist. I welcome, sir.
वागर्थान्व संपृक्तौ वागर्थ प्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। सभी मंचस्थ अतिथियों को, सम्मानित उपपतियों को और जो एकेडमिक स्कॉलर्स से यहाँ उपस्थित हैं उन सभी को मैं इस मंच से प्रणाम करते हुए अपनी बात बहुत संक्षेप में रखने का प्रयास करता हूँ। आईकेएस का एक बड़ा मंत्र वाक्य हमारे सामने आया है, भद्रायाम सुमतौ यदेम। हम उस ज्ञान को प्राप्त करने के लिए, उस ज्ञान को रिसीव करने के लिए एफर्ट करें तो हमको कल्याण की ओर ले जाने वाला है। वो ज्ञान किसी काम का नहीं क्योंकि हमारी बात समझ जाए, तो सबके कल्याण के लिए हम उस ज्ञान को प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं और इसी मंत्र वाक्य की शब्द छाया में हम यहाँ पर बैठे हुए हैं। जो हमारा इंडियन सिस्टम है, हमारे सिस्टम है, जो भारतीय ज्ञान प्रणाली है, वो दो प्रकार की, दो प्रणालियां हमारे शुरू से चल रही है। एक है निगम और दूसरा है आगम। जो वेद और उपनिषद हैं ये निगम है, उसके बाद फिर जितना भी है इसमें पुराण भी आते हैं, हमारे सूत्र साहित्य भी आते हैं, धर्मशास्त्र भी आता है और सब कुछ जो जो भारतीय वाङ्मय में है वो सब आगम में है। वो ये दोनों प्रणालियां बिल्कुल साथ साथ चलती हैं, कोई आपस में कोई द्वंद्व नहीं है, कोई एक दूसरे को काट नहीं रहा है, दोनों साथ साथ चल रहे हैं। और ये जो हमारी निगम की जो भारतीय प्रणाली है, जिसको मैंने निगम कहा, भारतीय ज्ञान प्रणाली, इसको किसने बनाया? इसको हमारे कुलपतियों ने बनाया है। ऋग्वेद में जितने भी बड़े ऋषि हैं, वामदेव, वशिष्ठ, विश्वामित्र, अगस्त्य, कण्व, अत्रि, गौतम ऋषि, कश्यप ऋषि, जमदग्नि ऋषि, ये सब किसी न किसी गुरुकुल के कुलपति थे और इन्होंने ही प्रणाली बनाई। भारतीय प्रणाली जो निगम प्रणाली है ये उन कुलपतियों की देन है। हमें उन कुलपतियों का ऋण होना चाहिए। उन्होंने गोत्र परंपरा चलाई। हम जिस गोत्र में हैं इस समय, मैं मुगल गोत्र का, आप सबका अपना अलग गोत्र है, वो गोत्र परंपरा उन कुलपतियों ने चलाई। एक बात। दूसरा, ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है कि सब कुछ वहां ज्ञान का विस्फोट हुआ वेद में और एकदम से फूट पड़ा, ऐसा नहीं। सब कुछ ग्रेजुअली हुआ है, धीरे 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 धीरे। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपको जानकर के बहुत आश्चर्य होगा कि संपूर्ण ऋग्वेद में 10,600 ऋचास आर देयर, बट देयर इज नो ओम। ऋग्वेद में ओम नहीं है। कितने आश्चर्य बात, प्रणव आपसे ओम ऋग्वेद में नहीं है। यजुर्वेद में 40 चैप्टर्स हैं और शुरू के जो 39 चैप्टर्स हैं वो रिचुअल हैं, कर्मकांड के, वहां भी ओम नहीं है। की बात, वहां भी ओम नहीं है। लेकिन जो लास्ट चैप्टर है वो सेक्शन ऑफ नॉलेज, वो है ज्ञान कांड। वहां से हमारी ज्ञान की परंपरा शुरू होती है, यजुर्वेद के अंतिम अध्याय से, और वहां ओम आता है। पहली बात, पूरे विश्व में सबसे पहले ओम यजुर्वेद के 40वें चैप्टर में आया। वायुर्मथेतम भस्मांतम शरीरम ओम क्रतो स्मर क्रतम स्मर क्रतो स्मर क्रतम। इसके पहले ओम कहीं भी नहीं। और जब यजुर्वेद का एंड होता है, समाप्त, अंतिम में लिखा हुआ है ओम खम ब्रह्म। डेफिनेशन है ओम की, ओम आकाश के समान व्यापक है, ख के समान ओम। यहां से ओम की मीनिंग हो जाती है। देखिए कैसे प्रणाली चलती है ओम की। दधीचि, अंतिम अध्याय दधीचि का है, और दधीचि ओम को आह्वान करने वाले, ओम को पकड़ने वाले, ओम की पहचान करने वाले दधीचि ऋषि कुलपति, वहां से चला ओम। और जब उपनिषद की स्थापना हुई तत्काल, और ये हुआ कि यजुर्वेद का जो आखिरी अध्याय था वो पूरा का पूरा ईशावास्योपनिषद में ट्रांसफर हो गया, पूरा का पूरा। ईशावास्योपनिषदम यत्न जगत्याम तेन तत्तेन भुंजिता मां गलत कसम, और पूरा का पूरा उपनिषद ज्ञान का चरमोत्कर्ष है। ईशोपनिषद, छांदोग्य उपनिषद, बृहदारण्यक उपनिषद, कठोपनिषद, केनोपनिषद, प्रश्नोपनिषद, हर उपनिषद में आप देखेंगे दो ही लोग हैं, एक आचार्य हैं और कपिल हैं, वो कोई भी नहीं दूसरा रखते हैं। तभी कहते हैं सहनौ भुनक्तु, उद्धर किया था यहाँ पे, सहनाव, हम एक दूसरे की रक्षा करें, गुरु शिष्य परंपरा, ये गुरु शिष्य परंपरा उपनिषदों ने ज्ञान परंपरा ने स्थापित की। सहनाव, हम एक दूसरे गुरु शिष्य की रक्षा करें, शिष्य गुरु की रक्षा करें। सहनौ भुनक्तु, साथ उद्भव करें, सह वीरन करवावहै, ऐसा नहीं कि मैं अकेला ही वीर बन जाऊं, सह वीरन करवावहै, हम सब वीर बने। तेजस्विनावधीतम अस्तु, जो हमने स्टडी की है, जो अध्ययन किया है, वो तेजस्वी हो, स्पार्किंग हो। ये हमारा मिशन। और उसके बाद आप देखते हैं ज्ञान की परंपरा जो चली है, जो प्रणाली चली है, चलते चलते यहाँ तक आई है, अभी इस समय एक और ध्यान करवा विश्वामित्र का प्रसिद्ध मंत्र तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्, ये ऋग्वेद के थर्ड मंडल का 62वां सूत्र का एक मंत्र है, एक विचार है। वहां भूल भुआ सुहा नहीं है, कहीं नहीं है, बहुत बाद में यजुर्वेद, सामवेद, अथर्ववेद की बहुत बाद में इस मंत्र की साधना के लिए वो एक ऐसा व्यक्ति आया होगा जिसने इस मंत्र को साधा होगा, उसका भूल भुआ सुहा, ये भारतीय वेद, भारत वेद, ये है ऊर्ध्वारोहण, ऊपर की ओर जाना, भू भुआ स्वाहा, बोलते ना भू भुआ स्वाहा तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम। अब गायत्री मंत्र तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम भर्गो देवस्य, तो यहाँ नहीं, आप बोलते रहिए, 1000 बार बोलिए, कुछ नहीं होगा। अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस को भू भुआ स्वाहा वहां तक ले जाना, देव सविता तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्, वो हमारी बुद्धि को प्रेरित करे, वो सविता यहाँ नहीं है, वो स्व में भू भुआ स्वाहा यहाँ नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं। यहाँ तो केवल अग्नि है, अग्नि केवल पृथ्वी का केवल एक ही देवता है ऋग्वेद में, वो है अग्नि। और जो हमारे भीतर अग्नि तत्व है, हमारे भीतर पंच तत्वों में जो अग्नि तत्व है, वो हमेशा ऊर्ध्वारोहण करता है, इसलिए हम दीप प्रज्वलित करते हैं। ऊर्ध्वारोहण, अग्निमीळे पुरोहितम यज्ञस्य देवं मृत्युजम, यहाँ से ऋग्वेद शुरू होता है। अग्निमीळे पुरोहितम यज्ञस्य देवं मृत्युजम होतारम धर्मधर्म, वो हमारा पुरोहित है, वो हमको ले जाएगा वहां से। तो बात हो गई वर्तमान की, आधुनिक की बात करें हम बड़े भाग्यशाली हैं, बहुत भाग्यशाली हैं कि हमारे युग में एक वैदिक ऋषि पैदा हुआ, इसका नाम है श्री अरविंद। उसको ग्रहण नहीं जा सकता, उसको इग्नोर नहीं किया जा सकता श्री अरविंद को। श्री अरविंद विश्वामित्र से आगे बढ़ते हैं। श्री अरविंद के विश्वामित्र कहते हैं भू भुआ स्वाहा, लेकिन श्री अरविंद कहते हैं भू भुआ स्वाहा तपः महाजना सत्यम, सातवें आसमान। श्री अरविंद अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस के साथ वहां पहुंचे हैं, भूल चला, यह आधुनिक की देन है। ये है हमारी भारतीय प्रणाली, इसको कहते हैं भारतीय प्रणाली, ऊपर जाती है, ऐसे नहीं जाती है। और इसीलिए श्री अरविंद विश्वामित्र से बहुत आगे का मंत्र देते हैं, गायत्री मंत्र तत्सवितुर्वरम रूपम ज्योति परस्य धीमहि यन्नः सत्येन दीपयेत्। जो श्री अरविंद के फॉलोअर बैठे हैं वो इस बात को समझ रहे होंगे, सुन रहे होंगे। तत्सवितुर्वरम रूपम ज्योति परस्य धीमहि यन्नः सत्येन दीपयेत्, उस सत्य को श्री अरविंद धरती को उतारना चाहते हैं। अति मानस चेता सुप्रामेंटल की बात श्री अरविंद कर रहे हैं। भारतीय प्रणाली से चलते चलते आए यहाँ आके खड़े हुए। सामान्य बात की बहुत होती है, और श्री अरविंद की घोषणा है कि आने वाले समय में मनुष्य अति मानसिक चेतना से संपन्न रहेगा। श्री अरविंद मानसिक चेतना को धरती पर उतार दिया है, एक बार एक्सपेरिमेंट कर चुके हैं, वो सफल प्रयोग कर चुके हैं 1926 में भी और उसके बाद 2 बार प्रयोग कर चुके हैं। ये है हमारे भारत की बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है, कहीं नहीं सुने, कहीं नहीं जाएगा। ये सब धीरे धीरे और प्रणाली में सब बेशक वैसा सीधा सीधा नहीं चलाता, कटता छटता रहता है। कालिदास कहते हैं पुराण मित्ते वन साधु सर्वम, पुराना सब अच्छा नहीं है, पुरानी प्रणाली में सब अच्छा नहीं, सब अच्छा नहीं। पुराण कालिदास, महाकवि कालिदास, मैं उनको भारतीय ज्ञान प्रणाली का आधुनिक जनक कहता हूं। वो कहते हैं पुराण मित्ते वन साधु सर्वम न चापि काव्यम नवमित्यवद्यम, पुराना जो कुछ अच्छा है वो सब अच्छा नहीं है, वो जो नया है अभी इस समय वो सब खराब नहीं है। दोनों को विवेक करना, अच्छे अच्छे को लेकर के आगे बढ़ना पड़ता है। और मनुस्मृति परंपरा को लेकर के, भारतीय वेद को लेकर के एक और मनुस्मृति बहुत शानदार बातें थी। मनुस्मृति आपस्तंभ याज्ञवल्क्य इनका चरत्ते केन पादेन तिष्ठत्ते केन बुद्धिमान, जो बुद्धिमान व्यक्ति होता है एक पैर पे खड़ा रहता है, दूसरे पैर पे चलता है, दोनों पैर से नहीं चलते, दोनों पैर चलेंगे तो गिर पड़ेंगे। भारतीय में कोई सिखाता है कि जो हमने ज्ञान प्राप्त कर लिया घटे रहो और आगे आगे हो, ये क्रम निरंतर चलता रहता है। ये हमारी भारतीय परंपरा है और भारतीय परंपरा पर हम गर्व करते हैं। मेरा समय पूरा हो गया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आपने ओम और भूर्भुवः स्वः की जो व्याख्या की है वो इसको हम प्रचार करते हैं और आत्मसात करने का प्रयास करेंगे और भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा में उसकी अनुभूति होती रहे, ऐसी हम सबसे चेष्टा करेंगे। धन्यवाद। नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू इनवाइट आवर फाइनल पैनलिस्ट डॉक्टर संजय कोरोदे, प्रेसिडेंट विजय भूमि यूनिवर्सिटी एंड चेयरमैन ऑफ IFIM इंस्टीट्यूशन। वेलकम सर।
Honorable members of the dais and the audience, very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So firstly, let me start by correcting what has been wrongly said. I'm not doctor, I'm only Sanjay Korodé. Okay. And the second thing is I would like to ask for forgiveness from all the scholars who are here, who very much well read about me and the Indian knowledge system. I'm just a student trying to learn. Not yet there, but striving to get there. So I have a different take on the whole system. And my take is that why are we restricting our knowledge system to only Bharatiya? In my view, it is a global knowledge system. This has evolved over the last 8,000 years, which has been synthesized into knowledge which comes to us from the Western world, the Eastern world, from the Northern world and the Southern world. Knowledge has always been synthesized. It's good that we are trying to reclaim our stake on the creation of this knowledge. You look at, the limited knowledge that I had, the amount of philosophy that we have basically created in our Vedic system, in our Vedas, in our Upanishads, in the Puranas, and everything put together. Okay, so immense that science, engineering, math has to catch on. And we're yet not there. What we are doing wrongly at this point of time is to take pride on what was already created. That's good, you got to do it. What we are not doing right now is taking that forward and moving on. I give you a very simple example. So you have the allopathic medicine, you have the Ayurvedic medicine. The Ayurvedic line. Today, the Medical Council of India, it's quite unfortunate, is not being able to integrate the two. So we have two councils, Ayush and Medical. Now, if you look at Ayurveda is the prevention, building the immune system to not let disease hit you. Allopathy is the cure of disease. Post-cure of disease, if I go and ask a doctor who is trained in our Indian education system, in our medicine, is Ayurveda, we don't have enough scientific proof of that, you tried at your own risk, however, what they you go by medicines. There are mechanics of killing diabetes without having a lot of the pills that we need. There are mechanics of reducing blood pressure without having statin tablets. But we basically have ignored them within our given education system. We have been overpowered by what came from the West, and what came from the West the origin was the East. So somehow in this whole circle, we are lost and we are kind of confused. And I'm glad that at least we are now reclaiming our creation. Let's come to mathematics. We talked about Vedic mathematics. I mean, the only digit, I'm a master's in math, so I can talk about that. The only digit that does not have, that has an opposite in mathematics is 0. The opposite of 0 is infinity. What is the opposite of 1? None. The only one, okay? And 0 was created in nature. And the concept of infinity was created in nature. And the entire real number line from 0 to infinity, which is basically dividing into parts and all the integral systems that we have, linear integral, the derivative system, is all based on these small components which eventually make the entire solution. That came from India. But what we do with it now? The whole of Vedic computing, the whole of Vedic mathematics, okay, is currently deployed in your large language models, is deployed into your statistics for faster computation. Okay, so that you use lesser CPU power. It's part of numerical analysis that we teach in our courses. It's all integrated. It's not something that is not, we all follow it. So what is the problem with ourselves? Okay, now with all these learned people here, we've heard the use of mantras. Okay, quoted verbatim from various Vedas and Vedas and stuff. So what's wrong with rote learning? Isn't that rote? That was our core system. We first made people learn the mantras. Then we allowed them to reflect as they mature. And over a period of time, they could build on it to create new theories. It was about practice. Are we practicing what we created? Let's ask that question. How many people practice yoga? How many people believe in pranayama? How many people do it religiously every day? Let's go to the Western world. They may not do pranayama. I mean, they are following pranayama yoga. But go out into a city like Sydney, go out into the central part of New York, go out into the high part of London. Every time you're going to see people running, people exercising, people doing fitness, they practice. You only talk. You only prophesize. I think we need to take our knowledge down to practice. We need to ensure that that practice becomes embedded in us and the Indian in us comes out. And that would be the value. So I think my entire conclusion is about how to bring this entire knowledge that we have. We all talk in these conferences, we speak about everything, we do lots. But we do not follow through to take it to the ground. As a result, the people who win are the people who are able to take it to the ground. Where they are able to publish, convert this thought into new knowledge. Convert this thought into new models, which are now creating artificial intelligence and whatever we do. Convert the old sciences of Ayurveda into new medicine. I mean, I have been to doctors, we have asked many a times, we've all talked about it, we have asked, is the alternate way of medicine, it's going to be helpful for me? They say no harm in trying, because it is not going to harm you, but we don't have any scientific evidence that it will help. Okay? So you take the case of, let's say, cancer, okay, as a disease, which is the most prevalent, the second biggest killer of the world today. Alright? So when you look at cancer as a disease, and you look at the probabilistic survival rates that come. Okay, so you are taking a generic, very statistical view that out of 100 people, if somebody gets cancer, 40 will survive, 60 will die. Okay. You cannot analyze that, saying that 40 will survive, what are the lifestyles they actually use. A lot of them, first of all, they are endowed with wealth. Second is they are endowed with good medical care. Third, they have got good family support. And fourth, they follow a very, very healthy lifestyle. That lifestyle is what Ayurveda and naturopathy actually propagates. But we don't do research in our education institutions to link it to that and say, hey guys, it's because of Ayurveda that survival is 40%. It's not because of the chemotherapies that kill cancer. Yes, that is important to kill the disease. But to survive the disease, you need to have an immune system that can fight the rebirth of the disease. I think we need more evidencing of what the knowledge is already created. We need more of those to come out in our publishing papers. We need more of those to be created in conferences globally. I have a take on the Indian way of looking at things, okay? So what we do is, to prove ourselves good, we create national games. Okay, what happens in national games? The best sprinter of our team goes and wins 100 meters and becomes a cricketer. Because he gets a job in the government and then he doesn't go forward in Olympics. Second thing that we do, very gladly that we have done in an education system, is created the National Institute of Ranking Framework. We love to have Olympics within India. And we don't have the guts to fight Olympics globally. Why is it that our universities don't get ranked globally, and why is it that the Chinese universities get ranked globally? Because they don't have a Chinese Institute of Ranking system. They have only one. The aim is, let's fight the global, let's beat the global, we automatically rank in India. So again, this whole concept of Indian knowledge system is great, but I think we need to convert that to the global knowledge system. With that, or this MSP, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay, for this, sir. Thank you so much, sir. You just explained the Ayurveda system and culture. Actually, the medicine which we are using as of now, it's a part of our life and really help to the society. As sir already mentioned, we should think about the health consciousness required, so that Ayurvedic medicine is really important in our Indian law system. Only we have entertaining one question. Jem Reddy sir online wanted to ask one question. Sir, can you hear us, sir? Jem Reddy sir.
Yeah, there is volume. One has to switch on the volume.
Can you just connect?
Switch on the audio.
Professor Jem Reddy sir. We are unable to listen to them.
Can you move from this side?
Rajni ma'am, can you help us? Anybody else who can this? No? Okay, so just ask him after next section we will do this question because we are already half an hour lecture. So this is time for the next session. So thank you so much, sir. To all of you, it's a time of we present the memento to our distinguished guest. I would like to invite Dr. Nilanjan Chattopadhyay, Vice Chancellor, Jharkhand State University, to present the memento to CA Prabhudeva Aradhya, sir. Thank you, Nilanjan sir. I would request, I invite Dr. Manisha, Madam, Deputy Director, Corporate Relation, ICFAI Bangalore, to present the memento Professor M.K. Sridhar sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Abha Singh, Pro Vice Chancellor, SJT University, member of ICFAI Vice Chancellor Council, to present the memento Professor P. Kanak Sabapati sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. S. Somya, Vice Chancellor, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Jayalalitha Music and Fine Arts University, to present the memo to Dr. Muralidhar Chandaniwala. I would like to invite Dr. Girish, Dean BBA, ICFAI Bangalore, to present a moment Dr. Sanjay Padodesai. Once again, I warmly thank all of our guests and audience for being a part of thoughtful, provoking session plenary 1. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Now I request to moderator second, who is moderating the second plenary session. I request to all the panelists of the session 2 to join the next session. I request to all of you, please be seated. This is a half an hour session for the second panel session. After that, we have lunch time. So I request to all of you, please be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, madam.
May I request your attention, please? Kindly sit down for the second panel session, Indian Knowledge System to Address Current and Emerging Challenges of India and the World. I am delighted to welcome you all to this session. Sir, you are audible? Sir, you are audible. Am I audible, sir? Sir, can we take your question in 5 minutes? We are just inviting the second panel and we will take your question. Sure. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Yes, the audio system. That's why we couldn't hear what your question was. Yeah. True, sir. So we will take that question in this session. Thank you, sir. So the theme of the session is IKS to address current and emerging challenges of India and the world. A theme that bridges our ancient insights with contemporary global challenges, reminding us that the answers to many of the today's problems may in fact lie in our own civilization roots. I would request the panelists of the session to take their seat on the dais. I will call out their names one by one. Professor N. Shiv Kumar, Professor and Dean of Management and Commerce, Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning and May I ask the audience to welcome him with a round of applause. Dr. G.P. Sudhakar. Dr. G.P. Sudhakar, Honorary Professor, Center for Educational and Social Studies. And Dr. R. Prasad, Senior Director and Professor, Academic Wing ICFAI Group. I welcome all the panelists. Now when we talk about the theme, a lot of questions come to our mind. For example, in what ways can IKS principles such as holistic well-being, sustainability and balance contribute to addressing global issues like climate change, digital ethics or mental health? Or what role should a higher education and research institutions play in mainstreaming IKS so that it becomes a living, evolving framework rather than nostalgic reflection of the past as mentioned in the last session? Or how can Indian knowledge system be meaningfully integrated into contemporary disciplines like management, technology or public policy without reducing them to a token inclusion or historical references? And with these questions in mind, may I ask the panelist, may I invite the first panelist, Professor N. Shiv Kumar, to address the gathering. Professor N. Shiv Kumar is a distinguished academic in commerce and management, celebrated for his experiential teaching methods across undergraduate to doctoral levels. Professor Shiv Kumar has served as director of the Vrindavan campus and currently holds the position of Professor and Dean of Management and Commerce at Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He has authored over 120 publications, including journal articles, conference papers, and book chapters. His accolades include the Sai Krishna Award for Excellence in Research and honors from the insurance sector. Sir, may I invite you to address? Thank you.
भद्रं कर्णे विष्णुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्ट्वांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः. Invoking the blessings of Bharat Mata on all the audience here, respected members on the dais, my fellow panelists and learned participants. It is indeed an honor to address this Vice Chancellor's conclave on integrating Indian knowledge systems in our educational system as well as into our contemporary thinking. I take this opportunity to highlight one very important aspect of Indian knowledge systems, which I actually started with my particular presentation just now. It went like Bhadram Karnebh Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhir Yajatraha. The easiest way to understand these aspects of our Indian ethos and Bharatiya Jnana Parampara is to appreciate it in just two simple words. Practice of human values. If we practice human values of, as was told in that mantra, do good, see good, be good, then not only the issues of the contemporary world can be addressed, it can also be addressed in an effective and sustainable manner through the education system. And I would like to highlight one living, contemporary, practicing model of this values-based education. The institution that I represent here, the Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, a deemed to be university. This university is an example of values-based education based on not only the Indian knowledge systems, but as mentioned in the previous session, global knowledge systems for everyone who are a part of this system. This system has been in existence for the last more than 50 years, and it is an education system established for creating generations of students, generations of young people who will work for the benefit of the society through self-confidence, self-knowledge and self-sacrifice. Atma Vishwasa, Atma Vidya and Swartha Tyaga. That is the vision of this deemed to be university, having its campuses both in Bangalore near and Nandi Hills, as well as at Puttapatti, Prashanti Nilayam and in Anantapur. More than 2,000 students at any point of time are beneficiaries of this particular education system. And what is so special is that here we focus on education for life, not just for a living. Education is not just information. Education is for transformation. The end of education is character. I am a personal beneficiary of this education system, having associated with it for more than 4 decades, and I can vouchsafe for the benefits and most importantly the long-lasting impact of this particular education system. We have in the Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning a Gurukula type system where education does not happen just only in the college. Education happens by living in the system. It is a system which has compulsory, mandatory, residential character. All the the students live in the premises of the educational system, and they go through multiple years of education so that their inner being is transformed. This particular education system concentrates not just only on intellectual dimension, it also tells a healthy body is required for a healthy mind, and therefore, along with intellectual knowledge, all the students compulsorily graded go through physical education. They all have to compulsorily participate in yoga, compulsorily participate in games. More importantly, students are taught that culture and fine arts make the person. All the students willingly participate in multiple cultural activities. The students learn that we do not live alone. We live in a society. The entire philosophy is based on Vyashti, the individual, working for the samashti, the society, collective. Finally, reaching the parameshti, the cosmic consciousness. Students have, as a part of their regular routine, daily routine, self-reliance and social work. The intellectual dimension, the physical dimension, the cultural dimension, the service dimension are all taken care of with the ultimate aim that students must realize that they have a larger purpose in their life. There is a spiritual dimension. All these education for life happens in this Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning based on the values-based education system and totally free of cost. There is no fees charged. Today morning, one of the participants asked, I am the dean of the business school. You don't charge any fees? We don't charge anything at all. There is no fees for any student. According to the philosophy of the founder, two rights are fundamental for every person in the society, and they are Vidya, education, and Vaidya, medical care. The Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning has a sister institution called as the Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences, where the highest level medical care is also given to everyone totally free of cost. These are institutions where you don't have a cash counter at all. Because of this nature of education, we have a total focus on values-based education, which indeed is the foundation of Indian knowledge system. Additionally, every course, as I told you, I handle courses on management and commerce. I teach courses on financial management, international financial management, business, government and society. But in every course taught for all the students, there is automatically an entire component of Indian knowledge systems integrated into every course taught to the student. Additionally, over and above this, there are very specific courses that also get handled. Apart from teaching finance, accounting, auditing, tax, I also have the privilege of teaching the students a course on Ramayana. I also have the privilege of teaching a course for the students on unity of all religions. We not only teach the students how to chant Vedic mantras because they are indeed, they have the power, vibration of making you better. We also teach the students how to chant the Surah Al-Fatiha from the Quran. We also teach the students how to sing Christmas carols. This is a very powerful education system, very beautifully, without any fanfare, without any great advertisement, because the founder of this education system very clearly told, this system is like a flower. A flower need not advertise for the honey in it. If there is honey in the flower, bees will automatically come to it. The same way, this education system has values in it, and students along with their parents, they see it as a preferred education system. Though it is free, it does not mean only students from economically disadvantaged sections come. They are also welcome. But students from children of CFOs, CXOs, CEOs, who can afford any type of education, they also come, not because of a free education system, but because of the values in that education system. That is why this education system is not just a deemed to be university. It's actually a dream university. It was that university which our founding fathers actually wanted. We will be very happy to collaborate with you all. We also have a center for IKS. It has been established with the recognition of the Ministry of Education. We also do extensive research in Indian knowledge systems. We will be very happy to collaborate, but most importantly, we believe, and I am, as well as thousands of students across the world, are all testimonials for how this values-based education indeed is the sure shot, sustained solution for all the problems of the world. Many of you will like to also ask, what about placements? Don't they play an important role? We do have placements, and as I told you, it is like that flower full of honey. We get enough number of corporates coming and grabbing our students. We don't have to even advertise for them. They come and they take our students. We get the best possible placements too. That is the power of this values-based education. I would like to point out that Indian knowledge systems integrating into the education system means values-based education, living the values, not just professing or talking about the values, living the values. And the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning is one living institution which shows the way to the world. Thank you for your keen hearing. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Professor Shiv Kumar. Your advice of easiest way to understand ICS in just two simple words, human values, definitely resonates with all of us. And we would definitely look forward to that collaboration that you mentioned with the Center of ICS. Thank you so much, sir, again. May I now invite Dr. G.P. Sudhakar for sharing his thoughts. Dr. G.P. Sudhakar is an accomplished academic and industry expert in project management and Bharatiya management thoughts. He serves as honorary professor at the Center of Educational and Social Studies, Bangalore, and has held leadership roles in academia and industry. Sir, welcome, sir. Thank you so much, and may I request you to share your thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Shiv Kumar. Your advice of easiest way to understand ICS in just two simple words, human values, definitely resonates with all of us. And we would definitely look forward to that collaboration that you mentioned with the Center of ICS. reading out the resume creates expectations. And on the other side, I'm feeling like, first session we had Sachin, and in my this panel we have Gavaskar, and I am table tennis player coming in after these two. So that's exactly how I feel. That's because I am not an expert in IKS. I don't have a background in IKS. So I used Kotler to teach for 25 years, right? So that's my background. And so my way of looking at this is quite different. First I looked at the title of this that was given, and I made a small presentation. I'm not going to go through the whole presentation, say 2 slides. So, yeah, I forgot to thank Rohit and his team for thinking about me and having me here. I don't want to be the guy, between you and lunch. So, we'll just quickly go through this 2-3 slides of mine. Is there anything that IKS can offer in today's world? Is there anything that India can offer to the globe? Okay. Especially so in management education. So that is the thing I am trying to understand. Okay. So what are the problems or challenges facing the world? I think many speakers till now have already mentioned it, right? So we have ethics, definitely, right? Who's on the... Yeah. So, before this, the slide was about what is IKS. This is also an important topic actually for discussion because I don't think there is a single or there is a commonality of understanding of what is IKS, what it consists and things like that. Even within among the university systems, I find that people interpret or talk about different things. So if you look at what are the global issues, see technology is changing rapidly and ethics is not there. If you look at climate and issues, sustainability, we are not worried so much about that. Right? So short-termism is there everywhere, especially in the corporate world. Right? There are many books nowadays about what this quarterly results is creating problems. Mental health, anxiety, yes. So we are lacking inner stability, purpose, polarization, fragmented societies. These are all realities across the globe, right from war to internal strife to every kind of thing available. And in the area of education, all of us have gone through education which focused on information. Right? Yeah, so at least most of us here, we have gone through that kind of education. There was no time for reflection or value-based learning that Dr. Shiv was just mentioning. So most of us have not gone through that. So one of the things that I worry about when they talk about IKS is everybody, the NDP says IKS this and that, and you have lot of people who are essentially Sanskrit scholars. They say that there should be lived values, this should be how it should be done. Right? If I have to recite a Sanskrit shloka like Dr. Shiv, it will take me 20 years. I won't be here so long. So my worry is, the thing that I worry about is, what is the transition? Tomorrow morning, we cannot have IKS embedded in all the programs, and we cannot have all faculty, discussing this, all students practicing all that is being told, right? So what is the transition? This is something that all of you should probably think about. Okay, if you have the time, I can go on about it because this is a topic that I have thought about and I have my own. For example, people say that the MBA as we know it is dead. Even I am professor, they now say the MBA as we know it is dead. So what? So what is coming next? Right? There is hardly any discussion about that. So anyway, so next. So what does IKS bring to the table is the holistic thinking, purpose-driven learning, dialogue, samvad, dialogue, whatever, reflection, harmony with nature, society, right? Integration of head, heart, hand, knowledge. Yeah, next slide. So the way I just quickly submit to you and close there. So the way I look at it is, already we have talked about the root is the most important thing, values and vision. Here in terms of business, we are talking about purpose before profit, right? Ethics and empathy. We are talking about harmony with nature and society. Those are the kind of core, you can say, the values, right? On which, next slide. The education system, or what we are all trying to do, is to pass this on. If it has to become something, then we have to encourage dialogue and reflection, experience and mentorship. Right? Today teaching, how much of it is really providing experience or mentorship? Really something we have to think of. Right? And balance. Balance is a word when my son was younger, I used to say the most important word in this whole world is balance. Right? So balance is something that if you see anything about IKS you read, you will understand balance between profit, right, and serving society. Balance between profit and taking care of the environment. So you need to think about a lot of next. So how do we apply this? Is through management education, in our research, right, in our policies. Next slide. So we talk a lot about innovation, global impact, conscious leadership, right? But we don't. What are the roots? Right? And that's what I think my predecessor he spoke about. So the core of the thing is that until you water the roots, you're not going to get this. So it is not only pedagogy, but we have to work at the very basic things in the institution. So we are focused on efficiency. We are required to bring in conscious leaders, aware leaders. When we say aware means he should be aware, self-aware, aware of himself. He should be aware of society. He should be aware of the system where he is working. Right? So that awareness, how do we develop that awareness in the student? So those are the issues. Yeah. I'll just take you through next slide. For some paper I wrote recently, I reviewed some 15 books. Okay, these are business books. And so for example, the Golden Passport is a book about why Harvard graduates fail. Right? So the answer is ethics. Ethics. Right. So many of these, if you look at all these books that I reviewed, all of them, they talk about things like ethics or short-termism. Everybody is focused on what is the quarterly results, right? So if you look at the GE, forget his name now. Jack Welch, about Jack Welch now there are some 5-6 books, right? So from 4 billion he made it some 400 billion, okay, in about 15 years or whatever. But today there are 5-7 books talking about all the negative impact that his focus on quarterly results have had. Right? So next slide. Yeah, so we need leaders that must combine competence with conscience. Next. So some of the things that managers we need to kind of pass on to the managers. Okay. Next. Next. Yeah. So, this, when we, in our system, we talk about self-discipline, talk about empathy, a sense of service. So, a lot of Indian, I think Dr. Savapati mentioned in the morning, he has done a lot of work in this area. There are so many interesting Indian cases, right, which we can bring into our management classes, which offer a completely different perspective of what is the purpose of business, how business is done, right? So, yeah, next. I believe, we can offer to the world something very different because, like I said, all these problems that are there confronting the world today, if you look at what is the way the IKS looks at this, right, I think we have something different to offer to the world. I won't say it's a solution, but I say that we have a different point of view, and that is something, we say there are many truths, right? We accept that there are many truths, and so similarly, knowledge we can get from different places. So these are things that are very unique to India. The knowledge pluralism itself is very new. Next. 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 So, the simple point I'm trying to make is the present challenges of the globe can be addressed by many of the aspects from Indian traditions. Now, I was going back to the first slide about what IKS is. So, it is not somebody says it is from the Vedas or some Upanishads, but what we need to understand is these are all lived, these have been lived through, right? So, this actually experienced and knowledge or wisdom. We use the word wisdom because some people have actually experienced this and then they came up with this. So we should not look at it like a text or something. It is actually a combination of case studies, experiences, and so it's very valuable, I believe, not to think about it as something in the past, but something to build on for the future. I hope the universities start doing more research in this area. Recently, I saw somebody had built a battery based on some ancient Sanskrit text, right? So things like that. So I'm sure cost of that battery actually is 1/3 what is presently being manufactured or whatever. So things like that. So it is not something that we gloat about the great past, but something that will help us into the future. Thank you so much.
So thank you, sir, for your address on future of learning and leadership, and the need of the day being the inner stability and purpose, empathy and shared well-being, values and vision, and competence with conscience. Thank you so much for your address. Would request the third panel member also to, just like the other two, be within the time. Before I invite the third panel member, just let me introduce. Dr. R. Prasad is a senior director and professor at ICFAI Group, where he has pioneered personalized online MBA and BBA program and leads AI-driven learning initiatives. An alumnus of IIT Madras and IIM Kolkata, he brings over 2 decades of innovation across corporate, entrepreneurial and academic domains. His research focuses on employability in management, education, and he has authored books and papers on strategy, entrepreneurship, and change management. He moderates the popular Wise View webinar series, spotlighting leadership and Indian knowledge system. May I request you to share your thoughts, sir?
Thanks to ICFAI Bangalore for providing the opportunity. Good afternoon to esteemed members on the dais, software dais, colleagues and friends. I will start with a video, but before that, I think amidst us, we have a living institution of values, so we are not competing there. And much of India's private institutions are nowhere near that. So the very founder had values, so I think, that's a completely different divine institution itself. We come from an Indian background, and therefore, the first point I want to make is that I draw back to Dr. Sridhar, present and future. And the most important thing for IKS that I would keep in my mind is Gen Z and Gen Alpha, not our generation. And so, in order to attract their attention, let me show you a small clip.
It is the 138th verse from the chapter 4. It means, he shall say what is true, and he shall say what is agreeable. He shall not say what is true, but disagreeable. Nor shall he say what is agreeable, but untrue. This is the eternal law. Is there an opponent in your team? When leaders battle the marketplace, they need to be aware of the possible role of key partners who oppose. One such battle occurred between Duryodhana, prince of the Kauravas, and King Shalya of Madra, his key ally in war against the Pandavas. Before the Kurukshetra war, Duryodhana was quick to win over Shalya as an ally. Shalya later regretted his short-sighted decision. His intent was to support his nephews, the Pandavas. In the war, Arjuna had Krishna not just the best charioteer, but a master strategist. To match Arjuna's advantage, Karna, the commander-in-chief of the Kauravas, wanted Shalya to be his charioteer. Shalya was a top warrior and one of the best charioteers of his time. His army was huge. He was a proud man of impeccable lineage and intellect. Would Shalya agree to be the charioteer to Karna, who did not have a royal lineage? But Karna was the only one who could better Arjuna in battle, and he needed Shalya. Acknowledging Shalya's reputation, Duryodhana proposed the role to Shalya. Shalya felt that Karna wasn't his equal. Shalya perceived that his role as a key ally was being reduced to that of a charioteer to the low-born Karna. Shalya's pride was deeply hurt. He was enraged. He accused Duryodhana of doubting his loyalty and insulting him with such a proposal. With deep respect and affection, Duryodhana reassured Shalya that he did not consider Karna superior, nor did he doubt Shalya's loyalty. Duryodhana now praised Shalya as having twice the skill of Vasudeva Krishna as a charioteer. To further persuade Shalya, Duryodhana narrated how Lord Brahma was once the charioteer of Lord Shiva. Earlier, disappointed at being deceived into joining the Kauravas, Shalya had promised Yudhishthira that he would demotivate Karna during the war. Now that he was being publicly honored as superior to Krishna and likened to Brahma, he grabbed the opportunity to become Karna's charioteer. with one condition. He would say whatever he pleased while serving as charioteer. Karna and Duryodhana accepted this condition. As the battle raged, Shaliya fulfilled his promise. He questioned Karna's pride, his choices, and his fate. But by midday, he began to see Karna's nobility and valor. Then came the turning point. Karna's chariot wheel got stuck in the mud. He asked Shaliya for help, but Shaliya refused. Karna stepped down to free the wheel himself. In that vulnerable moment, Arjuna, guided by Krishna, killed him. The case raises several questions. Did Karna make the right choice in having Shaliya as charioteer? Are knowledge, skills, and experience sufficient in making such decisions? How did Duryodhana convince Shaliya? How do you convince a key partner to take up a role perceived below their pay grade? How do you judge Karna, Duryodhana, and Shaliya as leaders in this case? How do you judge another leader?
Thank you. So here we are talking about Gen Z and Gen Alpha. We are all, I think most of us in this room, except the students, would be on the wrong side of 50. If we need IKS to go forward, Gen Z and Gen Alpha need to be convinced. Lecturing them won't help. First you have to get their attention. All of us have children, and in some cases grandchildren, who are of that age group. And here, execution of how you present IKS matters. Let's look at what the facts are. I take another 3 minutes. And I think time is very important for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They won't listen to you beyond a certain time. They'll switch off. Okay, so I've got 3 minutes, I'm going to take those 3 minutes. The first is, out of all the challenges facing India, human capital is the most important. All the rest will come if you tackle your human capital. And for human capital, who matters? Gen Z, Gen Alpha, not us. Okay. So what do Gen Z and Gen Alpha need? You know, there are a lot of papers written about it. They don't have attention. They are very forthright. Okay, they look as if they are insulting you. They may not be. But there are many characteristics. And so, what should you do as an institution? I am not talking here as an individual faculty member or a professor. I am talking here about what you will do for your institution as a team of faculty members. And here, I think the institutions need to pivot. Characteristics of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, current systems of learning will not help. They like practice more. There are a lot of people who are not getting into, in the US it has started, they don't get into their degrees. They look at some kind of skill-oriented programs and then they go directly to jobs. And then they continue their education there. In India we have got about 50% of the population here. How are you going, and we are still faltering at 29%. What do you do from 29 to 50? What will HEIs do? Are you going to go the conventional way? So understanding Z and Alpha, I say, is your first priority. Don't just continue to do what you're doing. See what they are receptive to. Do your research on it. Publish the paper. Understand it well, keep changing. Alpha is so innovative that they will not be doing the next year what they did the previous year. They are far more smarter learners because they were born AI native. They know the AI much more than any of us. So the challenges are very different. I think the way in which learning takes place needs to change completely. Today, if it is teaching 15 hours, make 1 credit. If it is self-learning, 30 hours, make 1 credit. I think you need to remove a lot of the teaching out of the learning. How do you do that? Part
part is you have to leverage technology. If you've got stuff with you, you should allow them to see whatever they want. If it's good, they'll see. If it's not good, they'll go online and see something else. But either way, they will learn. But what is your learning centered on? Your learning is centered on outcomes. So if your entire approach is outcome centric and not just teaching centric, I think this needs a lot of reflection and institutions to do what is required to be done on that. How do you reduce your current 3 hours per week to 1 hour per week? How do you get into a timetable which is only half a day and the rest of it you allow for practice? These are big questions we need to ask, and we owe it to Gen Z and Gen Alpha in order to do that. Now let me come to the other aspect of IKS. What are the outcomes we are looking for? Okay, here I'd like to be very different. Every city has its problems, every town has its problem, every village has its problems. But at the same time, every town, city has its wealth. And if you look back, that is Indian knowledge system. So if you've got a certain way of in which textiles are made near a certain city, isn't that a knowledge system? If there is a way in which herbal treatments are provided to those needy, isn't that a knowledge system? So I think understanding, so we had, mercantile, how mercantiles operated, certain pockets in the country where trade and commerce are run in a certain way. Every town, every city in India has something which is, everyone doesn't have all, but every city, every town has something in the neighborhood which can be brought in. India's economy will flourish only when the last mile flourishes. It is not enough if the cities flourish, because then there will be disparity. If the village also is not far away from the city in terms of whatever services and products that it can get, that's when we can clearly say that we have developed. And in order to do that, we also need to understand those places. When we understand those places, automatically Indian knowledge systems will come. Because much of this is there, whether it's a Ramayana, Mahabharata, or the local medicine, all of that is there in those places. The students who hail from those places, they have been converted to learn something else. Now, how do you get them to learn what is also local, what is around them? How do you provide those sort of services there? I think many of them would prefer to remain back and do some service there, and maybe those who are aspirational in terms of economics may move to the city. As of today, I think the aspiration is one-sided. It is all going towards the city. Not much is going towards leveraging the wealth that we have through Indian knowledge systems. And I think the first job of universities and institutions is this. Through students, connect, make them study. You don't have to give all the theory. You give them problems, you give them challenges, ask them to study, go out and study. In that practice, they will understand the concepts as well. Concepts are there on the web, you don't need to give lectures on it. So if they understand that and they work towards how service can be provided, how solutions can be provided, I think that's how HEIs can implement that. So we are expecting that economics, social, all these aspects can improve if we understand what that local society is, what is happening in some other part of the country, there may be other parts of knowledge systems. How do we incorporate that here? I think much of what we said will come through. But if you don't get Gen Alpha's, Gen Z's attention, all this is just a conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prasad sir. Your suggestion on understanding the Gen Z and Gen Alpha and also ways to engage them is very, very thought-provoking. As educational fraternity, I think this is what we are all trying to do now. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And with this, we also come to the end of this session. We had requested Mahendra Reddy sir to ask his question in this session. May I request you to please go ahead?
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me at the outset congratulate for the excellent presentations in this session and I attended the previous session as well.
Yes.
I thank the profile council for sending me the link which I could not come personally to Bangalore. You see, my question is, of the first last question relates to paradox. IK suggests excellent values in this, there is no doubt about it. But what we are observing in the society and in the globe, as distinguished persons have mentioned is, in India, for example, rising inequality, corruption, poverty and extreme poverty, climate change, unemployment and underemployment. You see, food security, fragmented society, and informality in the sector, about 90% of the sector economy. It's not just in India. Even in the globe has several problems such as industrial revolution and AI disruption, the rising protectionism and the new trade policies in the world, climate change, which several people, the speakers have mentioned, geopolitical conflicts, as mental health and welfare. So, and then rising inequality. So what we have to think about is, unless we have practical problem society consistent what the value says, what you observe is that value says is that. That kind of a paradox is a big challenge in the society, and we have to solve the problem before we try to popularize ideas in India and in the world. The second point is, one of the speakers has mentioned that in every course, you see, you have to introduce ideas. This is work, but look at the challenge involved. You see, for example, if you are teaching an MBA course on strategy, Michael Porter has got a strategy. Now, are you saying that South India's Arthashastra has an alternative which is better than Michael Porter? What I am saying is, it's okay to present in a seminar, but it's extremely important to present such things in reputed journals in the world, and let the world recognize that you can get Arthashastra provides better solutions than what has been provided in the textbook world. Because world should accept what they are talking, not just here a few people. See, similarly, macroeconomic policy. So Arthashastra suggests something, but there are other policies suggested by the Nobel laureate sector. Are you saying that the Arthashastra macroeconomic policies suggested are better? If so, how, why published journal articles should be there? Then only IK has become more popular, not only in India, but the most important aspect is how we have to think in terms of the 4 crore children, 4 crore students. You see, so one of the biggest challenges is we need faculty. Faculty should know what Arthashastra is. We were not taught when we were students. So how we are going to train the faculty, how they will take it to the classroom, I think to be kept in mind. Alternatively, think in terms of just one fundamental excellent course, which has been suggested by Sita Ram and others. Excellent course, so that the objective of the course is to transform every student as excellent human beings. So we should achieve human excellence, but at least let's take it as a minimum thing, and let's achieve that, and then think of expanding that case into several other courses and programs. Thank you, madam, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Very great points made there, and whatever you said, those challenges requires a lot of years of basically integrating that Indian knowledge system in each and every course. That is going to take a lot of number of years. But your point on maybe publishing research paper not only for India but for the globe, to see how well versed we have been with the way of life, with the value system, definitely I'm sure many of us would try and do that. Thank you so much, and with this we come to the end of this session. To show our token of appreciation to the panel members, may I request Professor Y.S.R. Murthy Sir, VCRV University, to felicitate Professor Shiv Kumar. Former VC. Okay. So I stand corrected, former VC. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Can I request Dr. Narayani Ramchandran, Director NMIMS Bengaluru and I'm a member of VC Council, to come and felicitate Dr. G.P. Sudhakar. Dr. Narayani ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now may I request Dr. Shyam Sundar Rath, VC National Sports University Imphal and IMA VC Conclave member, to come and felicitate Dr. R. Prasad. May I request the audience to have a round of applause. Thank you Murthy sir, Dr. Narayani and Dr. Shyam Sundar, and thank you so much for all the panelists to share their words of wisdom. With this, we come to the end of second panel and we'll go for lunch now. It would be a quick lunch of 20 minutes because we are already overshooting the time. So at around 2:20, we will gather back for the third plenary session. And in addition, I would also like to invite all the VCs and the guests here for a dinner today at 7:30 p.m. At Chancery Pavilion Hotel. Thank you so much.
I am. Yes.